Welcome to the live review, discussion, and rant about What If Episode 1. What if Peggy Carter became Captain America? My name is Benny, but let's go through our guest panelists today. Words are, that's part of my job. I know how to say them all. We're going to go through our guest panelists today, starting with, we'll go from right to my right here. Like, I'm going to try pointing. It worked out so well in Loki. Right there.
Totally.
I think that's a black void, but okay.
Yeah, wait. Oh, shit. That way. Jeff's that way.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, chat? Jemmin here. Thanks for having me on. We did the live show on my channel for Loki. We did live shows on Very Gary's channel for WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier. So we're here to talk about what if. And I got to correct you, Benny. It's not what if Sharon Carter became Captain America, if she became Captain Carter. Because I was going to mess with you on technically she's not Captain America or Captain Britain or whatever she's supposed to be.
They didn't give her a name. We'll talk about that, but they didn't name her. She just
they named her Captain Carter.
That's the name.
Yeah.
That's the official. That's what her action figure is going to say.
But what's with the Captain Britain outfit? All right, we'll talk about it. Anyway.
We'll go at it. All right, my least favorite person from our Loki reviews. Over the top there. Who is this?
and so it continues. Back at it, Guy Forge. What is up? 1/3 of pressable defects. As you can see, the other defect below me, which below me. I shouldn't say that on your channel.
Wow.
But you know what?
Very happy. Perfectly fine. It's normal.
Very happy to be here. Obviously, continuing these discussions and having some fun while we're doing it. So happy to share the screen with you guys.
And right below you, your much more beautiful host.
Wow.
Who? Yeah. So another third of the pressable defects. One of us is missing tonight. Happy to be here. We had a great time on Jem's channel, getting to know Benny. I just came here, number one, to see if Benny will actually eat a shoe this time if he's wrong, and number two, to see Guy and Benny fight. Thankfully, Jem's in the middle of them tonight and not me, so good luck.
Maddie, turn that mic up a little bit.
Yeah, I told him.
Right.
I told him. Yep.
I actually just manually brought him up a little. It's not helping. All right, and my usual co-host for like every other show I do, Sal. Why don't you tell them about your new channel?
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thanks for letting me be on your show. I'm very excited. Normally, I'm on a channel called youtube.com/comic pop, where we talk about one story, break it down. We also have another channel called Comic Pop Returns, where we do live shows kind of like this, where we just break down either new books or we have a one topic discussion for about an hour. It's a lot of fun. If you are interested in some frank and earnest discussions about comics, I think you will be pleasantly surprised by what you find at Comic Pop Returns.
And with perfect timing, our sixth guest is here.
Oh, he's over
Gary
there.
Comics.
Gary Comics.
Hey, Gary Comics.
Very Gary.
Comic Gary.
Benny.
That's not going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
Benny, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited for this. We had a blast on Jem's channel with Loki. I'm ready to get into this one.
Okay. Well, where can they find you though, Gary Comics? Because it's not Gary Comics.
The background is not obvious enough.
Very Gary Comics. We do, what do we do on there? We buy comic book collections. We go through the collections. We talk about the keys. We send them off to CGC, and then we eventually do unboxings, talk values of those books, and then we see if we can make money on these collections we buy. That's kind of what we do over there.
I just want to comment real quick, Gary. When I first found your channel, long before Jem invited me, I saw your background. And at first, until I realized it was your set, I was like, is this dude filming everything at his local con? What is this setup here?
These are the banners I take to conventions when I'm set up. I tell Jem, I've told everybody, they're only there to hide the closet doors. My room is narrow. I can't get good angles.
Got it. All right. Well, if you watch anything that happens on Absolutely Marvel in DC with me and Sal, I'll give you guys a quick rundown as to what happened, and then everyone's going to freeform discuss their thoughts on the whole thing. This will probably be my easiest recap ever. The concept of the show is what if, alternate realities, and what's going to happen is, what did happen is Sharon Carter basically turned into Captain America, a.k.a. Captain Carter. It tells us the storyline of what if she became the main character of Captain America, the First Avenger. The only major change that I noticed, and we'll go over this in a minute, is that basically they turned Steve into Iron Man in the 1940s. Outside of that, it was pretty much just Captain Carter doing Captain America stuff. It even resolved just like Captain America with a slight tweak to the overall plot. See, I told you, quick recaps, Jen. Jen.
Guys,
Now we
thanks. Have a good night.
Yeah, that's it.
It was fun. It was really
Thanks,
a lot of fun,
everybody.
Guys.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks
We'll
for
put our
ruining
grades-
everything, Benny.
We'll just put our grades in the chat as we leave.
When,
all right,
when
so
I was-
let's talk about this then, Jim. You go first.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I was really just enamored with the animation, with the sound effects. I mean, they killed the sound effects, the shield sound, and I liked it aesthetically. Right, I didn't really think about it until later, like kind of like how you just mentioned. Like, what if Sharon Carter became Captain?
Hold on, I was right. It is Peggy. The chat is telling me it is Peggy.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you
Peggy.
said Sharon, and that threw me off.
Oh, okay, Peggy Carter.
Peggy,
Anyway,
yeah.
one of the Carters. Meet the Carters. Anyway, yeah, there's not much difference if she became Captain Carter or if Steve Rogers became Captain America. So the story was just kind of whatever. Really, what the what if did for me was give me hope for other stories that they're going to do what ifs for. I would rather see something with a bigger twist, like bigger ramifications for the change. This one was kind of like the same thing, but just swap a character out. But I did like the animation. I thought that looked great. Some of it a little Disney-ish. Some of the fight scenes with enemies getting thrown against the wall felt like I was watching a Disney cartoon, which we are, I guess. But you know what I'm saying? Disney princess kind of cartoon or whatever.
They had rosy cheeks at times. It was like
She had rosy cheeks. Now,
Gives the
also,
life.
A couple times when they got hit, you saw that Disney animation, like,
right.
yeah.
but I'm watching it. I'm like, well, I'm watching this on Disney Plus, so that's forgivable. The Watcher was cool. I'm excited to see where it goes. It wasn't like the best thing I've ever seen. It wasn't lame. I thought it was good. It just, it was the first episode. We're kind of getting our feet wet in this universe.
That's going on the poster. It wasn't lame, Jimmy.
In quotes.
It's not that bad.
Is it wrong that I thought The Watcher was the best part of the episode?
The Watcher
Yes,
was dope.
he doesn't do anything
Watcher
in this
was-
episode.
That's what I
Means
thought of
you
the
hated
episode.
it. That essentially means you hated it.
Dang.
Well,
He was a
really
strong word.
I wasn't really a fan of the Watcher's voiceover, though. I kind of
Who
that's not
was
what
that?
I expected.
I liked it.
Yeah.
who was that though? Who was that voice actor? Because that sounded familiar.
That's Jeffrey Wright. He's from Westworld.
Oh, there you go.
He's
That's
also
right.
Gordon in The Batman coming.
Oh,
okay.
It
And the
sounded
other
like
voice
it had some
actors.
weird effects on it.
Was it
Yeah.
the regular voice actors from Chris was it Chris Evans as
It was-
Steve Rogers and everything?
It was not Chris Evans. It was Josh Keaton from Spectacular Spider-Man, which is kind of fun. But it was really selective, and it's actually funny you should mention that. And I'm gonna just hijack it really quick just to mention that apparently the showrunner from What If was interviewed, I think yesterday, the day before, and they were like, why isn't everybody in this show? Like, why is Sebastian Stan in the upcoming episodes, Chadwick Boseman? Like, why are selective actors here, but other key characters like Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, like, why aren't they on the show? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, I know, and it's called Ka-ching. It's just
Right.
no. They were
Not in
just
the
like,
budget.
Downey Jr.'s
All
like,
I-
I'm not going in a booth. I've been in a booth too many times. I've been 10 years in a booth. I'm not doing the booth. Forget it. Get out of here.
All I know is they got Stanley Tucci, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. Good for him. Good for them.
What did you think, Guy? Why don't you give us your general initial impressions?
The smile says it all.
It's hard for us to stretch out a 20-minute episode into like, all right, so in minute 2, guys, what'd you think? Like,
I think it was important that we know that Jem really enjoyed it. Let's see how everybody, or
But
at least
I like
didn't think it was
everything.
lame.
I'm easy. Like as long as it doesn't suck, I'm happy. You know what I mean? So I was with it. It was, speaking about the pace, Benny, I'm sure you're going to get into it. It was a little bit fast paced, but anyway, over to Guy.
we'll go, Guy. We're going down the line. Gary, you're up
it
after
was-
this.
It was fun. Let's put it that way. I got to watch it with my kids, so my boys watched it with me. Shout out to my wife; she watched it as well, and she made a good comment on it. And she said, "This is very comic booky," which was a good statement. She goes,
Interesting.
I felt like we were in a comic book, like with the punching, with the hitting, with the fast pace, with the color. I mean, yes, it was a cartoon, but it was. I mean, everybody's used to saying that like DC has had the best cartoons, right, or animations.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like the consensus. I haven't watched a lot of the DC, but I've heard that's what people are saying. I was excited for this. I think it's going to be different. again, I'm along the lines of Jem. I felt like I watched Captain America, just someone else do it. So I was hoping there would be a change because it did change, but it was like, here, we're just going to have Peggy do this same thing. So that's the only downfall in my opinion. Was it fun to watch? Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was fun to watch a cartoon instead of a movie or a show. So that was different. But yeah, I wish they kind of tweaked it a little bit more, honestly.
Yeah. Very Gary Comics.
Gary Comics.
Okay.
Comic Gary is the name.
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
trying to correct it. The last time I got someone's name wrong on a live stream, it stuck for 4 years, and I still don't hear the end of it.
I'm trying to make it happen here.
I'm making shirts as we
I don't
speak.
know if I
on
should
that.
go next or last because now I'm like, all right. Put it this way, I really loved the animation. It actually reminded me of a cel-shaded video game like Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Wind Waker. I felt like it really looked like that, and I loved that. I thought that was a lot of fun, and that's where it ended for me. It didn't do anything for me. I actually thought this was probably the worst episode to start this series with, because I think 6 weeks, 8 weeks, however many episodes there are in the series, I don't know, we're going to look back and say, this was the worst episode. Because I am looking forward to the other ones. I'm looking forward to Spider-Man. I'm looking forward to Black Panther, which I think is next week. I'm looking forward to all of this was my least, the one I was looking forward to least. And maybe it's because Captain America to me is like, you know, I'm probably in the minority here. He's not one of my favorites. I want to see Spider-Man. I want to see Thor. I want to see Doctor Strange.
Very un-American, Gary.
Black Panther. I want to see Star-Lord. What did you just say?
I said very un-American.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be the minority here. I don't know.
No, I think a lot of people
I watched it the first time. I was like, and I said, and I watched it on my phone, and I said, you know what? Let me give it a second chance on my TV. And I fell asleep as soon as she got injected with the super soldier serum. So that's I don't know if I'm going to be the odd man out here, but I wasn't super thrilled. And again, I think we're going to look back and say this was the weakest episode of the bunch, because I do think it's going to be great. I think they're all going to be fantastic.
Don't worry, Gary. I'm always the negative one. I'll be on your side in a minute.
Oh, thank you, Ben.
Well, that was the whole thing, though. I think this episode had to happen first because Peggy Carter is going to be throughout this whole series. She's going to be injected throughout the whole series, and I'm assuming at some point she's probably going to show up live action, and we can talk about that more later. But that's why this had to be the first episode.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, Comic Pop returns. What are your thoughts?
Well, I loved this episode. I really enjoyed it. I had a blast watching it. I was a little skeptical, like you, when the last time we talked about it, when we reviewed the trailer. The animation looked a little stiff and cell shading. It looked like a Telltale game, and I felt like it kind of worked. The thing is, I wasn't distracted by it. Sometimes there's animation that's really bad, like the Disney attempts at Avengers cartoons. They're very distractingly like animated to me. I'm just kind of like, I can't get into it. With this, I was just immersed in the story, and it very much is just, what if Captain America, the first Avenger, were 30 minutes long? And I think, point. Right, like that's the what if. But like on one hand, it works on so many different levels, creatively and marketing wise, because what if is a concept that seemingly to us seems like, yeah, duh, we get it. And because Hollywood is throwing away the multiverse title all over the place, you're kind of like, you assume everyone gets the premise. This is the perfect introduction to a multiverse, an alternate timeline. We're talking about esoteric concepts that like most folk don't think about. People who don't think about comics, don't read them, but are diehard Marvel, like MCU fans. People who love Iron Man as their favorite character, but have never read a comic book or an Iron Man book in their lives. And so you're introducing to them an idea of like, okay, so it's a multiverse. This is an alternate timeline. This is what they're kind of like if you were to be exposed to them. So you're like, oh, like it's a really simple, like, but this is pretty much like that movie I saw, which I enjoyed, but with a different protagonist who has the same ideology. So it's not really that much to forgive. And it sets up Peggy Carter as the protagonist, or at the very least as one of the protagonists of this show. And so I think you're right, by the way, about Peggy being live action, and like when you bring it up, we'll get into it because I'm excited to talk about like the implications of the show. But this episode is a great opportunity for them to just kind of like sell the premise to everybody, and then by the time we get to episode 3, we're gonna be in the weeds. Like we're gonna see like all kinds of crazy stuff like being referenced or pulled. And it's like, yeah, this is the introduction episode. This is the episode to be like, this is what if is. This is what the multiverse is. And isn't it fun? And we're going to have a good time. And it's like, by the time you get to episode 3, they're going to be like, yeah, the good times are over. Now we're just getting into the war or whatever is going to happen. They did a nice job of changing the twist at the end. And I think that was their way of being like, this is how it's really going to be. Like, they just chucked that character, if it is that character. And I'm going to go on record and say, it's definitely Shuma Gorath.
Yes, absolutely.
Please. I was waiting for the reveal of something. I was like, what is that?
Yeah. I'm like, oh my, literally I was watching, I'm like, oh my God. At that point, I was watching it for like, because I can't help myself and I had to watch it in the morning. And I was like, God, I can't believe I didn't watch this with my wife. She's a huge Doctor Strange fan. She loves Shuma Gorath. She likes the Lovecraftian horror. And so I'm like, man. And so I messaged her as she's at work and I'm like, I can't believe, I feel so bad. I wanted to see a reaction. She's like, well, then I guess I shouldn't have watched it 2 hours ago. And I'm like, oh.
That's awesome.
I'm like, it's Shuma Gorath. She's like, no, there's no way they're going to have the balls to make it Shuma Gorath.
And that's when you turn around and said, I knew I married you.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wear this little handy dandy ring to remind me every day. But yeah, I don't care what anybody says. That's Shuma Gorath. In my head canon, that's Shuma Gorath. No question. Come on.
Oh, just like it was Kang? Anyway.
It was Kang.
There we go.
It was Shuma all along.
Why embarrass yourself like this on the show, man?
I will mail you a shoe right now.
Yeah.
Okay, Benny?
Speaking
I am not saying anything.
Gorath, right?
Yeah,
I'm not saying anything that will involve me eating a shoe this time, because I only got out of it last time for a loophole, and I'm not finding another loophole. I guarantee you.
So this is why Benny was so bizarrely insistent on him not being Kang when it was
the shoe.
Yeah, he had to eat a shoe. I missed that episode. Now I know.
Wait, I never told you, so I keep
had
coming to
signs.
Tell me that you
I
owe
had
me
signs and everything.
Yeah, okay. No.
I would go onto our other show and be like, no, Sal, it's not Kang.
Yeah, and I'm like, why is he saying something that's so obviously wrong? All right.
Well, the other member of Pressable Defects. What do you got for us?
So, I didn't really do it in the beginning, but a little tie-in to what we do on our channel a little bit. We I don't want to say we focus on speculation, but a good part of our show does focus on it. People love it. We got lucky a few times. I'll just call it that. And now people expect us to get it right every time. So it was actually nice. Like every Disney Plus, every movie before it even comes out, we're researching, we're doing everything possible to have the leg up to try to give our viewers, some knowledge beforehand. This was the first time I was able to just go into something without having to do that, and it felt really good. So, I had very different expectations for this show. I'm not a big animation guy, so I didn't know what to, I didn't know how I was gonna like it or not like it, or enjoy it or not enjoy it. So it was kind of just like going in with very low expectations, and I think that's why I probably enjoyed it. I would would I watch it a second and third time? I mean, I might watch it again, but I wouldn't say like this was my favorite. I'm going to keep watching. Like I'm not looking forward to next week. I'll enjoy next week, but I'm not going to remember next week's happening and probably till like Wednesday morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just me. It didn't like grab me in completely. It was cool. There was a couple little nods in there, some Easter eggs, which were fun, right? Like for people that remember, the first Avenger, Captain America, even some some comic book moments in there. I think the Shuma Gorath thing was 100%. That's where my mind went right away.
Right. I think it's the Kraken for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
They do own that. It could be like Space Jam 2. We're going to put everybody in these.
It was giving me more Hellboy vibes when I was.
Yes.
I was like,
I felt that. I felt that too. But definitely with the multi-dimensional, that we know is coming up, the Shuma Gorath aspect of it, I was like, that's exactly what's happening here, right? Yeah. Whether they are just kind of whether they ever talk about it or not, we'll never know. But that's the little nod in my mind. As far as kind of the show itself, like the animation was good, the sounds were great, like it was easy to watch which I think is important. It's underrated, right? Like if there's things happening too fast, like I'll just turn it off, you know. But I like what Guy said earlier about the story, how it kind of mimicked the first, you know, the actual movie, and I was very happy that they moved off of that very quickly and gave it its own storyline after about what would you say, about 10 minutes?
Yeah,
it was about 10 minutes. It was like almost identical to, you know, Captain America 1, and then it kind of just went off in its own direction, which I think if they do more of that, I'll like the show even more. You know what I mean? Right. I think Jem said it earlier, you know, when they get to these other episodes where it's like more I don't want to say outlandish, but like more like off the beating path. Like this was very close to what we know. It just like inserted a different character and a couple arcs went in different, you know, we don't have the Winter Soldier anymore technically, right?
Yeah.
You know, unless someone gets created the Winter Soldier in a different way.
Well,
but like when
you didn't like the oh, you almost ripped my arm off.
Yeah, there was those little references.
I did the little
I didn't make a noise. I maybe breathed through my nose a little harder than usual.
But yeah, I mean, to wrap it up, I mean, I didn't think that I would have as much to say about this as I actually do, because after watching it, I started thinking, and I'm like, wow, I didn't really expect to have like an emotional response to it, because to me, it's like, okay, I feel like these shows are gonna. How much did I like the original version versus what I'm watching now, right? And after the fact, I was kind of like, I really loved Captain America #1. I like it more every time I watch it. You know what I mean? And like this didn't. I know it's not supposed to be, and it's not supposed to live up to, but no matter what, my brain is always going to compare the two, even though one's animation and one's live action. And it was like almost like I was a little. I don't want to say. I was a little upset at it, but it was almost like, nah, I'll take the original. You know what I mean? Like this storyline wasn't as good. It was rushed, and I get they have to. It's 30 minutes long, if that, right? But it was honestly, I didn't think I would have as much to say about it as I do, and that's a good thing, right? That's why we do these things. That's why people are tuning in, and that's why Disney's making these so that we talk about them, right? So,
how did Red Skull become Red Skull?
I didn't get that. Yeah.
If you didn't watch Captain America: The First Avenger, you might be a little bit lost on what's going on here.
That's true. Yeah, he's just a
100%.
dude with a red skull, and it's like, why? But well, that's the thing is like this show is using shorthand pretty well, where they're like, we'll explain and telegraph certain things, but only the things we're going to change. The other things we're going to take for granted, like Red Skull. It's all the same stuff you remember. Like, you know, Tommy Lee Jones dies, I think, in the opening, like when the Hydra agent starts the sabotage. So he's out, and they replace him with John Flynn, who is played by Bradley Whitford, who is, of course, from Cabin in the Woods and The West Wing and everything, and he's really fun. But like we change the narrative by replacing the characters we do recognize, or by letting them be whoever they were in the movie. You know, like Bucky Barnes is Bucky Barnes whole time. Like, no change. You get it.
Yep.
Just that he doesn't fall, so he's not Winter Soldier anymore. But Red Skull, that happened before. Like Erskine made him into Red Skull and then left and then made Captain America. Like all up until pretty much, I think the only change is like the Captain America: The First Avenger is this is the same movie until Peggy doesn't leave the room, and then it's different.
That's what I was going to talk about. There were two parts of the show that I actually did enjoy. One was the Watcher saying, "Hey,
here's the point.
What if this happened?" I actually liked that.
Yeah.
And I liked the ending, which I'm sure we will talk about it.
We will.
Good.
But,
so, okay, I got to give my thoughts, Gary.
Go. Sorry.
Okay, so I just want to open this by stating, because Jem apparently assumed I hated all of Loki. I actually liked all of Loki, and it's just my job to find little things to be annoyed at and put on Twitter so people could fight with me. So
Makes sense.
I do want to come out the gate, though. I didn't like this at all, to the point where I hit up Jem this morning, and I'm like, dude, I don't even want to talk about it, man. Like, it wasn't even fun. Like, okay, so my biggest issues right out of the gate were that this was practically First Avenger condensed down.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there was minor changes here and there. There was little things that like overall went through it. Fine. But I didn't see enough changes to make me be like, wow, this is cool. To me, it was, okay, so I'm watching First Avenger, but in animation and much faster than it ever should have been, which is my second complaint. The pacing just felt so wrong. They were jumping from beat to beat to beat without even having any breathing room. And whenever they did give them breathing room, it was wasted on a joke like, you almost ripped my arm off. Move on. Bucky doesn't get another line.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I noticed it very particularly when she thought Steve had passed away. Like, she thought he had blown up. And they had like, it was literally like someone said, all right, we'll have a moment of silence for Steve. All right, moving on. We have a war to fight. Like,
Yeah.
but it wasn't treated like, it was treated like there should have been more there. It wasn't treated like we're in such a high octane situation that we have to keep moving at 20 miles an hour. There was just, everything happened so quick. It's to the point, and it felt weird to me the way it was moving. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I felt like it should have weirdly been shorter and just hit the highlights because it felt like it was just trying to work in some weird extra stuff. Like, somebody wrote an outline and said, here's what's important about First Avenger, and here's what Peggy would change. And then someone else is like, that's only like 5 minutes because you just did First Avenger again. And so they're like, oh, throw in stuff like when they were going to kiss and Howard Stark had that weird, goofy moment.
Yeah.
You know, like Howard Stark didn't act like Howard Stark. He acted like a cartoon character. And people have been going off and on about the animation. From a guy who does watch a lot of anime, the one thing I despise is that CG animation.
Oh yeah.
When they throw that in there. Like, yeah, okay, Jem, you're a fan of Berserk. I couldn't
They
even
killed
watch-
Berserk. That's what I was thinking.
couldn't watch the latest one because of that the CG animation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
man.
plot itself, I liked. I liked the idea of Peggy. I wanted more breathing room in there to see Peggy be Captain Carter. Because I just felt like we were just running through it so quick. Like here's a cool fight scene. And now she's upset. And now she's going to get one over on the general. And now we're going to move forward. And now, like, it was just nothing breathed to me.
But
So-
do you think they had enough time to do more with it?
I don't know why they didn't add more time or make this a two-parter. Like,
Yeah,
they could.
that's
There's so
time.
many things they could have done to fix the pacing.
Now, do you think all the other episodes are going to be completely different, and they kind of use this as a quick mold, and like
Yes.
we're not going to
I
get
that
like
theory, like Sal
Guardians of the
said.
Galaxy with Black
Right.
Panther as Star-Lord, and we're not going to get.
I'm hoping that's not it. I hope we
I
don't
am
just
too.
get
I
Guardians
am
1 with Black Panther. But like, because the idea of like Marvel Zombies gives me hope.
Yeah.
Because unless they're going to cram 6 volumes into one, they're going to pick a story. So
Okay, so a little bit of inside baseball. Each episode is a different universe.
right.
Yes.
So it's
Okay.
it's not like we're gonna see like this is the point of convergence and we're only gonna look at this alternate world. Like each
Right.
episode, we're gonna look at a different universe and a different change. But we're gonna see some interesting convergence. Like I had a really big hope for this, and it has nothing to do with Carter. It has everything to do with Uatu, where I'm like, I love the idea of introducing the Watcher, and I think there's a great opportunity to sell the Watcher as a character
I
because
agree.
right, because Watcher is so fun, and the weight of the Watcher getting involved because of Galactus is kind of like lost because you're not born in the 40s, so you didn't read it for the first time in the 60s, and so there's no way that you were surprised by the Watcher betraying his oath by telling the Fantastic Four about Galactus. I'm getting to a point, I promise. But like,
I feel like I'm talking to Rob.
yeah, but that moment is would be so cool if it was like kind of earned, and wouldn't it be dope to have a whole show where the Watcher's like, I'm watching this crazy stuff, so are you. Let's see what's next, and then all these things start going crabbed, like it gets really bad, and he's like, can't get involved, gotta watch, sorry, and you're watching the show going like, get involved, what, do more, Watcher, and he doesn't. And then you save that for Fantastic Four when Galactus shows up and he does get involved. And you're like, I watched what if dude didn't get up off his chair. Now he's getting involved. Yes, I love Watcher. But instead, I feel like Watcher's going to get involved in the show. And we're not going to get that.
I think they planted that seed at the end. They really made a point to say, I could watch, but I could never interfere. Or
Can't get
something
it.
like
Can't. Yeah, he says it. He that's literally the last line of the episode, I think.
Now, is he going to say? They need to have him say that literally
In every
Every
episode.
episode.
that.
Yeah. That's not bad. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
Sell the premise. Good.
Yep.
But like, yeah, I think we're gonna see these characters from different universes all kind of like, I think it's gonna be like Tempest Fugonaut, where he's like, I'm making a Justice League of characters from doomed worlds. And it's like, I'm gonna make an Avengers team of characters from doomed worlds. Meh. Watch them all fight this thing. Maybe
mean,
the zombies.
Oh, that would be a cool. Like, we haven't seen much of the zombies other than there's zombies.
That we've only gotten like the one shot of Captain America, which is like, oh, cool.
I
I can't believe they're doing zombies. That's so.
And how are they
Yeah.
going to do that? Are they going to do the whole Peter Parker, Mary Jane thing
I-
from Marvel Zombies?
I feel like they're not.
They can't do that.
I feel like that might be a little much.
Well, that's my question, right? Like the biggest thing I have about this, like I'm just trying to think of, like I'm trying to be the company man here. Like I'm trying to think about the whole MCU and where they're trying to take us. Like,
Yeah.
what is this series supposed to do? Is it
Well,
supposed to introduce us to stuff, or is it just supposed to entertain us, or is it supposed to be somewhere in the middle? Because I feel like they can really screw things up if they get this wrong. You know what I mean? Because this will be the last thing. This will be the last taste in your mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like they have so much shit going on that they need to focus on. So many dots to connect. To just throw this in as like a one-off would be a huge mistake. So I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with this, because they better have like a lot of entertainment and then a few like really important points that connect to the next phase or
Yeah.
to the middle of this phase. I just don't know if that's going to happen. I have
Because
no idea.
this is canon, correct?
Oh yeah.
Correct.
That's what
But
But
they're
it's just the
saying.
multiverse.
But here's my thing: it's canon because none of it matters. It's just this happened over here. We never have to reference that universe again. It's
Yeah.
throwaway, you know. So I don't.
that's
think
kind of what my
my
problem is, though. That's
Right.
my problem right now, I think, because it's like I just sat down and watched a 30-minute version of the first Avenger, but Peggy Carter instead of Steve.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Steve is the hot. By the way, I love the name Hydra Stomper. That
Oh.
was the coolest
Yeah,
thing
that
out of
was
that.
That was a good
That
name.
like
yeah.
that Stars and Stripe big guy and Rusty moment of her like riding them with like
Yeah.
a special handle. I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
very-
see that.
I
Very
like
Jumping
cool.
from plane
Very
to
cool.
plane. That was a good scene, man.
Yeah. Well, the fact that Peggy's good at it, like immediately, because she's already a fighter, she's already a badass, and then it's like we gave her super soldier serum. Yeah, I'm gonna be 10 times better than I was, and I was already 10 times better than Steve when he started. He only got like what 2 weeks of basic training before he got the super soldier serum. He didn't even know how to fight. He probably had to like blunder his way through all these different battles in the first Avenger to be awesome. Remember that's a montage. We're not seeing him trip or get punched. We're seeing him just be great. But I think like Peggy bouncing between planes and doing that shield thing immediately and being great at it, I was like, this is really cool.
Well, she was showing it off with the dumbbells. Like I don't know.
Right.
I'm picturing that discussion in the weight room where she's like, "Look what I could do, Steve!" Like,
She put a lot of things in the wall. They're like, we got to pay for that wall.
Yeah.
I think. Can we talk about the ending now?
yeah. Go. I mean, when I hosted, it's more freeform, Gary. Because in case you hadn't caught on when I was discussing it with you guys on Gem, I just like to. Oh, my brain went there. Let's talk.
Gonna go for it.
Yeah, 'cause when we were doing it, we're going like scene by scene. Then Benny's like, "Yeah, but the end was like," dude. I'm like, "All right, dude, we're in the beginning still."
Sal's used to
So-
me, Gem. It's okay.
So with the ending, we technically saw the very beginning, sort of the first Avenger movie, or probably just a little bit before the first Avenger movie. Correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like, but was it like when Loki came through the door, but she came
Yes.
through instead of Loki?
Right. Something like that. Right. So
Yeah,
seemed
yeah.
wouldn't it be interesting? And I don't know if they're going to do this, but if the end of each episode they do end up in that universe.
See, I just thought it was a nod to the first Avenger, but you guys have me thinking like
Yeah.
a massively connected portion.
I
of
think
this.
so.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
did find it a bit weird that Hawkeye was there.
Right?
Like if it was just
Right.
Nick Fury, I'm like, okay, first Avenger. But then it's like, and Hawkeye, and I'm like,
Right.
you really want us to care about Hawkeye suddenly, don't
well,
you?
no,
Like,
Hawkeye was in that scene. Hawkeye's in that moment with Nick. Like those are the
oh,
only-
is he?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that idea that Nick isn't using the Tesseract Space Stone. He's using like a multiversal tap. Like
Yes.
he's pulling everybody in. That'd be
What
kind of
if
neat.
all the what if episodes end up coming together by the end, and now you have this one universe where all the what ifs come together?
Right. That'd be
That
cool.
would be cool.
I'm just
That
throwing
would
stuff
be
at the
very.
wall, you know.
That would be MCU-ish to do that.
It
Like,
would
I'm-
be.
Yeah.
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 And now
Like,
you have
okay,
this
okay,
one
okay, hold on,
universe
hold on.
where everything is.
I'm gonna do a Benny theory. Marvel
Oh.
Zombies.
Oh
It starts in
no.
their own little thing, but somehow they get into that Nick Fury room, and now they're infiltrating
Oh.
all the other multiverses, and then boom, Marvel Zombies take over. On
Yeah.
to season
What if-
2.
What if the last episode, like in the last scene, it goes from animation to live action, and then
Oh.
we're just left on a cliffhanger?
Oh,
That
do you
would
think,
be
you think
great.
that's why they were
That would be
coating those
crazy.
theories? Where they're like, "Oh, this could go live action, guys."
You know?
We already filmed the last episode.
Honestly,
What if
I mean-
they're building
Yeah.
an Avengers, a what if Avengers?
Yeah.
You now have Peggy,
Maybe.
Maybe.
right?
Yeah.
Killmonger as Iron Man, I think is coming, right? T'Challa as Star-Lord.
Star-Lord. Yeah.
I got my own Benny theory to add to Jem's Benny theory. This is how we get Deadpool. Headpool's introduced in Zombies.
Oh my
Enjoy
God.
the What If Avengers.
That'd be so
There it is.
amazing if
You heard it here first.
I hate to say this because I already know it, but it would be really cool if Deadpool were the only living hero left in the zombie universe. But we know it's not because
surrounding what
Let me ask you guys something here, because I think each Disney Plus show so far has brought us a little bit of a shock here or there, a little surprise, a little something special.
they got to have something tucked, man.
Is What If gonna bring us anything where we're like, whoa?
no.
I don't think we're going to get that. I don't think we're going to get too many Easter eggs. I think it's not going to be like Loki, where every episode we're like, oh, but what if the alligator's actually the guy behind it all because he's steering Goliath? Like, we're not going to have any of those moments.
I think we'll get those moments, but it's not going to be like, we're not getting mutants, we're not getting the Fantastic Four.
Right.
We're not,
No.
No Mephisto.
I agree with that.
Yeah, no Mephistos. Like, that's over. Like,
They're
that's
not going to
it's
do
not
any
live
big
action.
reveals here.
yeah.
Yeah, if it
We
was
are-
live action, we expect it. But for the animated, I think it gets a pass. And I do think, like, going to
Totally.
Matt's statement, it is to entertain. It's just, hey, what if? Let's have some fun. We got 100 million subscribers on Disney Plus. There you go. You know?
Not only that. Okay.
Well, we got a chat. We got a comment from our chat. Last 3 episodes are an hour long. That just adds to my complaint. Why wasn't this one longer?
Because it didn't need to be, Benny. Because it was fine. Because it was edited well and the pacing's fine.
It wasn't.
Because the
No,
episode
it's
was
not
good.
fine.
Yes,
It's
it was.
I'm
I'm
gonna
surprised
be
it
honest.
didn't hold your attention. It was fine. It was like, who wants to watch
I
Avengers?
was watching
watching
TikToks back to back to back. That's what I was watching.
I'm not watching Cap again. I'm not. It only hit the changes. That's all I needed. It's supposed to be for the layman. It's supposed to be for the noob who's like, what? What if? Is it different? Oh, that's different. Like, these are for fans of the movies, not for
Right.
like
That's a good
comic
point.
book fans. It's just
Like, see, yeah, but Sal, you're right, because like the MCU fans are like, oh man, wow, Peggy Carter's Cap. But like for us, we're like, we want to see the Phoenix kill everybody. Like
Exactly.
we want to go 0 to
No,
60 right away.
for us. We're like, why isn't she called Captain Britain?
Yeah.
Like, we're like, no. You could have used Union Jack. You could have used Captain Britain. She could have been
It's on the
Captain
shield.
UK. But like, and
Maybe
never.
because they're coming.
Yeah, well, the fact is, they told she would have been Captain Britain. They told her not to use it. Like, they literally, like, the Marvel overlords were like, don't use that name. Like, that's the only explanation I could think of for why she's called Captain Carter. Because it's not like Captain Carter is anything.
That's nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I mean, even
my-
when she
my-
became captain, she just threw it in there.
She just
How
told
about-
him to make her a captain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the
Yeah,
way, I'm
yeah.
a captain
How
now.
about Captain? they rank themselves in cartoons
sounds
in
nice.
animation.
Yeah, for the record,
Yeah.
guys, I'm ex-military, and that is how promotions work.
Oh yeah,
You just
yell
walk
at
in and you're like, I'm a sergeant first class now. Thank you.
I tell you,
now.
Captain
I am the
sounds
captain
better.
now.
Yeah.
Apropos of Marvel Zombies, Colonel America, that doesn't sound nearly as good as Captain America.
This is true. This is true.
What were you gonna
Honestly,
say,
my
man?
rating of this episode would be a lot lower if, like, in my mind, I was looking at Peggy Carter and thinking of Hallie Atwell the whole time. That's what kind of kept me going through it, because, I mean, I could watch her in anything. So
Because she's breathtaking, yeah.
yeah, pretty
I
much.
love
just
that they
kept
got
having
her.
that vision, and I was like, all right, we're good. I can keep watching this.
I love that they got her to do the voice. I did love
Yeah,
that. I
needed
even
it.
Googled.
You
I'm like,
needed
this
it.
sounds so much like her. Oh, it is her.
I think it's
They
because they're
had to
geniuses.
have that.
I think
Okay,
it's because
so-
that's one of those things where it's like, you'll
Are
see
we getting?
Captain
Are we
Carter.
getting Kang? Are we getting Kang in What If?
Ugh, I hope
I'm
not.
going to
I
say
hope
no.
not. Yeah.
Well, Benny will say no because there is no Kang.
Yeah, I was.
There is
that
no
question was
Kang.
actually-
Kang.
that question was for Benny. That's the only person it was for. Actually,
I-
He's gonna show up in everything from here on
That's-
out. Like almost
my
everything.
point.
We're gonna see
Yeah.
some.
We're gonna see
somewhat
something
of
of
Kang.
Kang
I'm telling you.
in-
Yeah.
in
So it
What
wouldn't
If.
shock me, but I'm gonna say no. But it wouldn't shock me.
If he shows up. Okay, so my
Yeah.
question for you guys now then is, I want to touch on this before we get your final thoughts, your final score of this whole thing. The character designs are making the internet. I just want to get your thoughts on them in general. Like, I've seen a lot of things like Scrawny Steve. No one said anything about Sebastian Stan's character. I thought he looked fine, but there's always the broad shoulder Captain Carter. What do you? I personally don't have any issues with them at all. I think they're perfectly fine. I don't even know why people are taking like a big deal about it. But the overall design of these characters, even Howard Stark did not look like Howard Stark or act like Howard Stark. Like, everybody's making this playboy, and he's like, "Ooh, you're kissing."
Yeah, I was watching this with my wife. She's in the chat, and when that part happened, she was like, "All right, I'm done." Like, watch them kiss. Like, come on, man.
They made that a little too cartoonish.
Yeah.
So, is there any complaints or any thoughts at all on the designs? Or you guys are just the same
thought
thing as
they
me? You're like,
I thought they were fine, but the designs are different than the way they acted, right? Like, I agree with you with Stark. That was silly. I didn't have any problems with the designs. I thought everything looked good.
Yeah,
I liked
it
the
didn't
cell
stick out.
shaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna like the animation, but I did, and it's one of those things where it just blended. Like it I was just watching the show. Like I just got pulled in, so I didn't. So whatever it's doing, it's working.
I think the animation worked for the action. When they were standing still, I just started to notice things like Disney rosy cheeks and overly comical Howard. But then she's flinging the shield, beating people up. And I'm like, yeah! Oh, we're back to Disney. Okay.
The choreographed fight scenes were amazing, especially like in the airplanes. And she's diving fast with the shield into the cockpit.
Yeah.
But then when she like effortlessly flips back and does the skydive onto the Steve Rogers Iron Man, I was like, okay, that was cool, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
That was super clean.
They jump between again, using that word, comic booky to Disney. Like, you know, so I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the art. But yeah, I can see where you get to the very Disney-esque kind of points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That would be my biggest complaint. Whenever you're like, why is their cheeks rosy now? Like why are we doing that?
You have such a problem with these rosy cheeks. I don't get it.
I don't like the Disney movies, but I love them all. I watch every single one of them.
It brings life to their face.
Do you know when I have rosy cheeks? When I've drank too much. Then it's like, hey guys.
Boom.
I kind of feel like they did it on purpose because
then you act like crazy Stark over there.
Yeah. That's why Stark makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but I was gonna say I thought they did the rosy cheeks on purpose to kind of give her some beauty because let's face it, they made her jacked, right? She's got the super soldier serum, and then you got small Steve Rogers, so you got that kind of dynamic. But they kind of went out of the way to give her some beauty still, and I think that's why they did that because I think she was the only character that had the rosy cheeks.
I think Steve had it at one point. I remember, for some reason, I remember Steve. I might be wrong. Everyone loves to tell me when I'm wrong. I'm giving you the option, but
I don't know.
I don't know. As a She-Hulk fan, I'm just like, yeah, go for it. She's supposed to be big. Like she looks dope.
I mean, what were they going to do? Or like make her like jacked? Like they just had to like do something,
I saw people
right?
complaining that like, people were citing the characters from the Falcon Winter Soldier show being like, the super soldier serum doesn't make you big. And I'm like, were you watching that show? That's a different soldier serum. They literally explain it in the plot. Like what's your
it
problem?
made Steve Rogers big, right?
It made him big. I was actually when she goes in the chamber, I'm like, are they gonna make her big? Like I legitimately was like, oh man, like he's huge. Do they do a big reveal? Yeah, and I'm like, right on. She looks cool. Works for me. Whatever.
All right, yeah, we got
Make
your
Bucky
thought.
big, right?
Yeah.
Bucky it didn't make big. I mean, it's
they didn't use the super soldier group. They used some
different, right?
They used I assume like Red Skulls or something. I don't know how they figured that out.
Some
All
of
right,
those
so
damn serums
closing
floating
thoughts.
around at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Closing thoughts, Matt. Why don't you take points since you kind of got more? You didn't get the answer on the design. What is your closing thoughts and review and score of it? That.
Oh man, you got me going first over here. All right, so no, I'm joking. So honestly, if Tommy Lee Jones, they got him back, I would have graded this a whole grade higher because I felt like the character that replaced him was absolute trash.
Those are
probably
big
worse
shoes to
than
fill,
Stark.
man.
Yeah,
I know, but I mean, I'm torn. I'm probably I'll give the grade first. I'm just gonna give it like a 5, because it was entertaining enough. But I have concerns about this going forward. If they don't show me something different, like very quick, like this is gonna be probably something that I stop watching until somebody tells me I have to watch it again. Because I'm with Benny. Like, if you have to make this the first episode, right? We need Peggy Carter because she's gonna be in other episodes. She's gonna be in the future of the MCU. Why not just do it a little bit better? Why not make it a little bit longer?
Yeah.
Why not give a little bit more detail? Make people want to watch episode 2, right? Like, who were they catering to? I have no idea. Was it somebody that's never watched anything before? I mean, that's what it seemed like to me. Like you could have just stepped in and watched this with never watching anything, and you would have been fine. But is that who they're really targeting with this? Because if you were trying to target people that watched other MCU stuff, I bet you a lot of people were kind of like, it was okay. Maybe not as much hatred as Benny has for it, but you know.
I don't have hatred for it. God damn it. You're as bad as my comments.
I got to stir the pot here. Come on, brother.
I seem like the most negative guy on these shows. I get on here and you're all like, these are great. These are great. And I'm like, all right, I'll be the guy that points out the nitpick that everyone's going to yell at me for pointing out.
Honestly, we had a little bet before. We said that your average rating throughout this whole series would be the over under is 3.5. I'm just letting you know. So that's
all right.
That's your
all right. All right. So score. Final thoughts.
Out of what? 10, 5? What is this? What?
Out of Sal's.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I'll give this. I don't know. I'll use 5 out of the as the top. I'll say 4 out of 5. I mean, like, you know, I for what it was, for what it sells, I had no real complaints. I was just I enjoyed it. I was sucked in. It made, you know, it sets up the universe in a nice way. You know, but it could have been perfect at some point, you know, but it did a nice job. I have no genuine issues with it. So I'm going to say 4 out of 5, maybe 8 out of 10, something like that. I just dug it.
All right. Gary, how many Kangs do you give it?
Well, I'm going to scale it out of 10. Before all right, I'm going to give my number and explain. I think this was a 3 out of a 10.
Dang.
I didn't enjoy it as much as the rest of you guys. Maybe Benny, we're on the same page. But with that being said, I think this is going to be the weakest episode. I am looking forward to all of them. This was the one I was probably looking forward to the least, and it's I don't know. I'm excited to see Black Panther. I'm excited to see Thor. I'm excited to see some of these other characters and their stories. I just got a 3. I didn't mind the animation. I actually enjoyed it. I just didn't. It felt rushed. We all talked about that. And I know it's only 30 minutes. I get it. It felt like they dropped Peggy into Captain America. I just hope the other episodes aren't the same way. And I don't think they will be. So I'm going with a 3, the lowest I've ever graded any of the Disney Plus shows, I believe, because I don't know. Sorry if people disagree, average. But that's where I am.
All right. Guy, what do you got?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't enjoy it that much. I enjoyed it, though. I give it 5 shoes.
I knew he was going to do shoes.
So I mean, on a scale of 10 shoes, I give it 5 shoes. I expect more. Let's put it that way. I expect more. Again, it's Marvel. Give us something rather than retelling a story just with a different person.
Right.
Yes, I know it. Yes, I know it jumped to a different like kind of aspect of it, but it's the same story. If it's going to be the same story with just different people every episode, I hate to repeat what we just said before, but if it's going to be that way, I'm with Matt. I have better things to do.
Wow, he didn't say it that harshly.
Yeah, everybody shook. I give this thing a 3. You guys are giving it 5s and slamming it. I'm getting the head shakes and the eye rolls. But okay,
I give it 5 shoes though.
That's because you're not a defect, Gary. You're just Gary Comics.
All right. Jem, how many arcade machines do you give it? Coolest background ever.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
My gut's giving it a 7 out of 10, man. I think the animation was smooth. I liked it. I thought the fight scenes were great, like I mentioned. We got the Watcher. We got the Watcher in the MCU. We got multiverse explanations. And it would have got higher if they did bigger consequences to the change. The change wasn't that different, right? Just swapping the person out. So that's what keeps it from going higher. But I do think it shows us the potential for future episodes. It shows us how they could pull it off. And I think, like everyone's saying, we're going to get crazier and crazier stories as this series goes on. I mean, we're getting Marvel Zombies. So 7 out of 10. I do think, like Gary said, it's probably going to be the tamest. I don't want to say weakest. It's probably going to be the most vanilla episode of the season and get crazier from here.
Yeah.
Safest. Good word. Yeah.
That's fair.
All right. And my score
here we go.
Is actually an 8 out of 10.
That's
I've said it
bullshit.
before.
The hell you, the hell you
None of
drinking?
this makes
What are you
sense.
drinking,
Hold
man?
on. I have rationale behind this.
Yeah, the rationale is
Okay.
he knew the
Okay.
average over
I look
under
like the
number.
big-
Hold on. I have an actual rationale behind this. As I did with Loki, I don't like to look at these shows from my perspective and what my nitpicks were because they are nitpicks. My biggest complaint was the pacing, and I wanted it to be longer. That's because I enjoyed what we were getting, and I felt it moved too quick. As an introduction to an alternate universe show, I actually think it does a great job because it does just drop Peggy into the first Avenger. So if you don't know the concept of What If, it takes a very small tweak and tweaks that out to allow you to understand this before we do something like, and now what if there were zombies?
Right.
My personal opinion, I nitpick the hell out of it because I will, but I actually think it does a great job of introducing this series. Whether or not it's interesting moving forward, it's if this is what we get every single one, I will tell you right now, it would go 8, 7, 6, 5, not watching it anymore.
Right.
So, but I do think it does a great job of introducing the concept. It does a great job of giving us choreographed fight scenes. It does a great job of setting up a story that I would have appreciated them making longer. So,
What
Fair
if
enough.
Benny gave
Wow,
a good
who paid
rating?
you for that grade? Just out of curiosity.
there's quite a few super chats going on in here, brother. No.
That's, I mean, honestly, some of the grades you gave Loki, like there must be a sliding scale you're using. I'm assuming, right? Is
are
it like a
you
sliding
using?
scale?
In Benny's defense, I liked this episode more than probably any Loki episode.
Oh my, I'm done.
Oh,
right.
I actually,
Alright.
I don't think Sal's wrong,
All right.
but
I'm
Sal
more
up
excited
until
about
that
What
point.
If. I was
Right.
like, well, I don't care about Loki anymore. By episode 2, I'm like, I don't care about any of these people. Like now, I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah,
Gotcha.
Watcher, let's do it.
Oh my god!
I will say, actually, think about this for one moment. Everyone here in this thing here, Loki was fun, but what was actually fun about Loki? The paint by numbers, as you expected plot, or all of us speculating every week that it was not going to be Kang?
Well, game by numbers plot.
Wow.
Look,
Wow.
I
Well,
will
isn't that what you-
say, we
Isn't
talked
that what it's supposed
ad
to be, though?
nauseam about Loki on Jem's channel, which is great. And I still say WandaVision's the best show so far on Disney Plus. But
I
Loki's,
agree with that.
in my opinion, Loki is right there, man. Better than Falcon
I
Winter
still think
Soldier.
Wanda's the best. I agree with you, Gary. Loki is my second, but the problem I have with Loki, in retrospect, it really did just paint by numbers. We even got the final fight was Loki versus Loki.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was exactly what we expected it to be. We wanted more. We expected more. We speculated more.
But
We just got what we
it just
expected.
changed the MCU. Loki did
Yeah.
so much.
So
I agree.
So, well, you know what?
Shut up, the
This
man.
we
Big
talked about
bad.
Loki.
So
For me personally, I always tend to like the shows and the movies that tell and stretch the overall
Right.
story.
Have a bigger impact.
And Loki did that. And that's why I enjoyed Loki. That's why I enjoyed WandaVision.
Right.
So that
Loki
to me
changed
was
as
so
much
important.
as Peggy Carter.
Wait, what?
We'll see. We'll see. The
show,
you
Peggy
could
Carter?
be right.
Yeah.
You could be right.
Yeah, what
You know,
else?
I always say like almost any comic book movie entertains me. Like I will watch Green Lantern if it's on. I don't give a
Right.
shit.
I like
because
Green
I
Lantern.
try to
It's
do that,
another-
and then I watch it, and I'm like, no.
It's
Okay,
it's
best
fun.
scene ever. Ring?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, but you know what it is? Like it's I think for us, right? Like Gary, Guy, and my, we talk a lot. Jay, who's not on here, we talk about this stuff like throughout the week. Our viewers on our channel, we like to talk to. And I always gauge how well the shows are because like we could be so biased because we're all Marvel fans, we're all comic fans, DC fans. I judge it on how much we talk about it once the episode is over. Like Falcon Winter Soldier, like the day after, I didn't talk about it again until the next episode. WandaVision literally talked about it almost every day that week up until the
After
next
the
episode.
first 3 episodes.
yep.
I'm
Yeah.
probably not talking about this one after this show until episode 2 again. Loki,
I
we
talked
were
about Wanda and
You know.
Loki. I talked with you guys, but outside
Exactly.
of you guys and Sal, I didn't talk to anyone. That was
Yeah.
I mean, who did you need? Who did you need?
Who's
Heard it
left
all.
now? Yeah.
Come on, Benny.
Yeah. That's fair.
Well, I hope
That's
you
where I'm
guys
at.
enjoyed this review and recap. Let me know in the comments down below which of my nitpicks you dislike the most. Let me know who the sexiest
great.
host is out of all 6 of us. I know it's me, but be gentle to the other guys. And
Totally
let's
unfair.
go ahead and go down the list here. Jem, what are you doing? Where can they find you?
What's going on, guys? I'm over at Gem Collectibles, do statue unboxings, weekly comic book day reviews, omnibus hauls and overviews, and live shows every Sunday.
And you know what? No. Matt, let's go to you. He's got something. He's got something. No. You promote this channel, the other channel.
All right. So we are the 2/3 of the Pressable Defects here. Hopefully you get to meet the other ones soon. We do new comic book day preview. We do spec videos every other week, live shows every other week. We have a lot of fun. We tend to get a little. We're not for younger audiences. Yeah, guys, we're not for younger audiences. We tend to push the limit on our channel a little bit here and there, so it's fun. We just try to have fun with it. Come check us out where you can find us. I think we're in the description, our link, right? So that
should be.
Benny makes it easy, you know?
Yeah.
And there you go. Come hang out. We talk about comics and we have a good time. What more is there to say? You know.
Before we go to the other two guys there, Made in Brooklyn brought up a good point, and I've said this. This is why you guys watch for our opinions of what we want. Made in Brooklyn, 1975, with a super chat says, "With all due respect, you all seem to grade these shows against the shows you create in your own heads rather than the show's own merits." Reason I highlighted this, other than it's a super chat, is because that's why I graded it 8 out of 10. And it's in its merits. I think the show is pretty good. With what I wanted, it's not.
Right. They're never going to live up to
though.
even the comics. They're never going to live up to the versions that we have in our head. We're always going to set the bar so high because we're so passionate about the hobby. We're so into these characters. So we're just on here nitpicking. Benny mostly more than anyone, but
yeah.
I agree with
Rosy cheeks, man. Rosy
It's got to be
cheeks.
based on your own opinion, though, right? I mean, your opinion has got to come into play when you're grading something. I mean, if I might like something that guy doesn't or Gary doesn't, So
Like
that's
this.
I like that we had a big scale,
Yeah.
all over the place because it showed even in the chat. If you looked at the chat, there were so many. We've done these 5 to 4 times now. I've never seen such a wide range of grades, and I think that's a good thing.
That's fair.
I've seen 10 out of 10s. I've seen 2 out of 10s. The chat's been all over the place.
Yeah.
I've seen
Just
I've
like
seen
the
people
sticks of
arguing
us.
DC's better.
Just like us. That's a good point, Gary.
All right,
they were
Gary.
I think they were just grading Benny's performance. That's all.
I'm just gonna stick then with the
Anyway,
3 out of
as the
10.
Marvel overlords have told me, I rate this an 11 out of 10. It's the greatest thing ever. Are you happy, Mickey? Send the check to my house. All right, Gary, you're up.
Yeah, you guys can find me at Very Gary Comics. What I do on my channel is I go out and I buy comic book collections. We go through the key issues. We send a bunch off to CGC, which is a third-party grading company, if you guys don't know. And then when the books come back, we open them up, we look at the grades, and we go over the fair market value, and we talk a lot on dollars and cents and stuff, among other things. But that's... Oh, and we do comic book auctions once a month. We do the auctions. That's
biggest
huge.
comic book auction on YouTube. Don't sell yourself short, Gary.
I appreciate that. I try not to pat my own back, but you can do it all you want.
Have you ever actually
always
tried
will.
that? It's not easy to do that. You know,
No.
it's like
Eh,
You wrench your arm
Gary's hair gets in the way anyway.
all the time.
free.
all right,
Benny,
Sal, what
I
do you got?
think-
For, what?
I was gonna say, Benny, you made Guy feel bad, and he has something he wanted to say about
Yeah,
it.
let Guy
Okay.
let Guy speak.
I-
Hashtag
He hasn't
let-
announced
If it
it.
involves shoes, I'm removing him. All right, I'm ready to go. Go for it.
No, I'm
Guy,
I'm
what do we
good.
have coming up? What do we have coming up?
We have a huge giveaway coming up, guys. We're giving shit away. Who doesn't like free stuff? Come on, our 5,000 subscriber giveaway. We hit over 5,000 in this
Congratulations.
year.
Yeah,
so
congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
I'll put
We're very
aside
good.
my hate for a second, Guy, to say congratulations.
I appreciate that. You can go back to in a couple minutes. I'm happy to have it. But yeah, come on over. We have a free giveaway video that we posted that you can enter. And on next Wednesday, we're going to be doing our 5K giveaway show. So, and we have a huge announcement. So maybe you guys can stop by and say hello and see our huge announcement that we're making.
There you go.
Be there.
You're gonna mail shoes to Benny's house.
Yes.
This is true. I attempted to get his address.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I don't live there anymore. Anyway, Sal, you're up.
Thanks for letting me come on the show, you guys. I had a really good fun time. And if you like anything that I have to say, or if you just want to come by and yell at me, you can go to youtube.com/comicpop, or you could check out Comic Pop Returns, or better yet, check out both channels. They run the gamut. We've got live reviews, full in-depth discussions, deep dives, and we make it kind of hopefully fun for both new comic readers and classic old school comic readers alike. So check us out.
All right, and that's that. If you're watching this on Comic Story, and thank you for watching the live show. And if you're catching the re-upload over at Absolutely Marvel in DC, well, that's where Sal and I talk about your favorite shows, movies, and whatever else we want to talk about. It's kind of just where we talk. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you all for being on the show today. You guys have been great. And that's that. Let's go ahead and close out the broadcast.